Well, hello all. Alright, what I want to talk to you today about was what does collapse look like? Total collapse, the societal collapse. What does it look like? It can look like many things. Let's say if the threats of war keep beating, Vladimir Putin wants to nuke the West, as he's calling it, and because of him losing in Ukraine, so he wants to take his anger out on the West and nuke the West. So let's say that happens and the US retaliates with full-on nuclear bombardment. It wouldn't take long before societal collapse was in full swing, maybe a week, and people would be starving to death and looking for clean water that wasn't full of radiation poisoning. So that's one way we could see collapse coming, is if Russia nuked the world, which with his insanity going on, he just can't take no for an answer. He's a very, very much like Donald Trump. He's just a nut, and he's not going to take losing the war as an answer. He will fight on till the very last person in Russia. So that's a very real possibility that nuclear annihilation could happen because of one idiot. We really need to get a control on these idiots who are in high places, or we will see complete annihilation of the planet. There's almost 8 billion people on this planet. What's another way we could see complete collapse of the world? Another way is climate going out of control and making food impossible to grow. And then after months or even a year or so, people would start starving to death and or maybe dying from heat or something else because of environmental causes. But starvation is a very real thing. And of course the next one is weather collapse, climate collapse. So we wait too long before we do anything, and suddenly the whole entire environment goes into some weird spin-off, and we end up with high winds, maybe 200 miles an hour on average, and once again food can't grow in that, and we end up with big huge rainstorms that flood the areas with massive amounts of rain, and the food takes another hit. Are you getting kind of the idea that collapse is not going to be maybe weather related or weather caused, but it might be because of food annihilation? Food is really important. Okay. And of course another real possibility is some kind of pathogen or disease, some kind of virus that kills everybody that it touches, and it goes from one person to another because the people aren't smart enough to take the vaccines or to wear masks, and so they end up, instead of having something small like COVID, you end up having something big like Ebola, and you end up with a huge population crash where most of the people on the planet die because of one disease. And it will take over very quickly, maybe 2 or 3 months, and you'd have a complete devastation of the population because of disease of one form or another, petulance. So you have war, which seems to be the one that's going to be the one as we're looking at it right now, nuclear annihilation, food starvation, disease, or weather related. I'd put weather related at the end because I don't think that the weather would change that much in my lifetime to where it would wipe out the entire planet. It will wipe out quite a few people through floods, storms, hurricanes, tornadoes, that sort of thing, but it'll be localized. But any of those are possible very soon, and it's up to us, the people, to pay attention to what the experts are telling us so that we can avoid having it happen. And the experts, I mean the scientists or the medical people. And we've got to do something about these nutballs who are in high places making bad decisions, causing things to even get worse. Now, another thing is that a lot of people think that the solution to all this is prepping and running to the hills once something happens. And let me tell you, that's not going to be a solution. Let's say you have a whole bunch of canned food. Well, that canned food will lose its nutrition pretty quickly. And you may be eating food, but it's not nutritionally valued, and you will slowly die from not having the right nutrition to eat. So prepping, in every way you think about it, is pretty useless. It doesn't solve anything. I think for the same amount of effort that people put for prepping into trying to get good leadership in office and trying to listen to the doctors and the scientists and trying to get others to listen, might be a better way of using the resources that you have, instead of storing up food that then goes bad and you have to throw it all away, and then you store up another batch and then that goes away and the end never shows up. Hopefully the end won't show up, but really I don't see how prepping is going to help anything as far as the long-term solutions go. I don't know what situation would work where prepping would work. What, a storm maybe? But you're going to the mountains, and storms are more intense on the mountains, so that's not going to work. Nuclear war wouldn't work, starvation wouldn't work, so there really isn't any scenario where prepping would work. No, we're in this for the long run, and we, the people, have to take charge and do something about it. Getting nutballs out of office who don't belong there, and making sure that nutballs don't get into office to begin with. And if the people are talking, if the nutballs are saying they're going to nuke somebody to solve a problem, you know it's time to get rid of that person. Make sure he doesn't, or she doesn't, get into office, and putting your effort into that instead of prepping. So your comments are welcome down below, and I appreciate all the comments, the ups, and the new subscribers. And until next time.